Hi, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Film Nerds Hour.
What you said with such enthusiasm.
Sorry about the energy, because we're going to be talking about society today, and I am nigh too thrilled.
Well, I am.
I know you are. I know you are.
Street trash.
Have we said our I'm Nathaniel Shoemaker.
And I'm Noah Sweeto, and we will be your wonderful hosts for the next hour.
One of the NS's is mad at another one of the NS's. Can you guess by the tone?
Can't steal that joke. I already told you that.
Yeah, that's the beauty of me stealing it. There's no evidence to the contrary.
Except for text messages.
Yeah, which have been deleted as we speak. So fuck you. I'm sorry.
Joke stealer! What is this, Coco? But without the music?
Coco. Oh, the Disney movie.
Yeah.
I thought you meant Coco like Conan,
Pixar, don't
like
call it
Conan
Disney.
O'Brien.
No. Although I do have 2 Conan O'Brien Funko Pops.
I love Conan O'Brien. But anyway, before we talk about society, I just want to ask you one question.
Oh no.
And I want you to just really think about your answer and tell me it truthfully, because not only do I want to know, I'm sure the audience is intrigued in knowing. Are you ready?
Alright.
Why do you hate me? What did I do to you? Did I hurt you in some way? Why would you subject me to this? Like, I can handle strange and weird and disturbing to an extent, okay? There are parts of the faculty which are very strange and very weird. Disturbing behavior is very weird and does have some genuinely disturbing stuff. But I can handle that. This is like the stuff they show prisoners at Guantanamo Bay until they lose their minds. Why? Why?
Because I did not know what I was getting into, and I didn't realize...
So you decided to put me through it as well? I don't know what the heck this is. Let's both watch it. Why?
Yeah, because, I didn't know it was also a Brian Usna movie, which...
It's in the credits!
Well, I didn't realize that, so I didn't realize that he's the one who made, The Dentist and Rottweiler and Dolls and all that.
Alright, I got that out of my system. So let's talk about Society, huh?
Which is the 1989 film by Brian Usna, and it is like Hellraiser. It's one of those movies where you're like, this was allowed in theaters back then?
Well, and I will say, the really messed up stuff doesn't happen till 20 minutes left in the movie. Maybe.
Very true.
Yeah. You'll see what we're talking about when we go through this. But...
There are suggestive things that make it seem much more disturbing than what the ending reveals. Right. And it's not as disturbing, but equally as disturbing.
I am fine with suggestive. But there's suggestive, and then there's showing me. It's like...
Well, they didn't show one part in particular that they mentioned that they thought was going on.
Like, you could suggest the idea of putting a spider on my face. But that's all you're doing. But when you put the spider on my face...
Well, I mean, if you're talking about a spider from a certain state, then maybe.
State? What state are you talking about?
I don't want to say it on here because I don't want to offend. They use it quite a lot in jokes, though.
You're going to have to pause this for a second and fill me in, then.
Alright, well, we're going to make a quick cut,
2 seconds,
folks.
People. 1% Australia. Oh, wow.
And we are back.
Yeah, wow. We went places. We went places and came back with souvenirs. There's now a placard there commemorating me. But anyways, so Society.
Where to begin with this movie? It's definitely a mindfuck of a movie.
Yeah. And notice how we're not doing the thing we usually do, where, hey, if you guys want to watch this first.
I mean, if you'd like to subject yourself to the weird orgy, somewhat insanity...
Be forewarned, this is easier to watch than House of a... No. This is less easy to watch than House of a Thousand Corpses, in my opinion.
But also way more bearable than The Blob mixed with Eli Roth's The Green Inferno.
Oh, yeah. Way more bearable than The Green Inferno, for sure.
So it's not on that level of messed up. It's definitely messed up, but not... I think Eli Roth, that movie... My
favorite... There's an interview with Eli Roth that I love, because they're interviewing him and a bunch of other directors about about Poltergeist, and he's like,
no.
his response is, "I love Poltergeist because less is more," and I'm like, "You say less is more? You, Eli Roth,
The one who's like, oh, did one person do this? Blood.
Yeah, exactly. The guy who made Cabin Fever. Oh God, that movie.
That was the original, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Cabin Fever. Cabin Fever was good though.
It is, but it effed with me.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no,
really
no.
bad.
Cabin Fever is some pretty questionable.
He did that. He did Green Inferno. Did he do a Hostel?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he played a role in that. But Clown is one I want to review on here too.
Clown.
Yeah, that one's kind of got a Pennywise.
Is that him?
Yeah.
That's the one where the guy like slowly turns into a clown, right? Like he can't take the nose off. And...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which for you guys knowing, this is officially our season 2 for your October viewing. So
Yay.
Yeah, hooray! And this month we're going to be focusing on purely creature features and all sorts of that stuff. So
Yeah,
even a couple of classics in there.
Yeah, we're not like copying anything anyone else did by having more in October and doing a creature feature month, Dead Meat.
Oh, you can't mention them on here?
Why?
They'll dishonor us.
They already have, because people have already sent them emails like, they're totally copying you guys. Even though we are huge fans of Dead Meat. We love Dead Meat, right?
So, I mean, if Dead Meat wants to come on, maybe
they're in
like
California, we're in Minnesota, and there's a pandemic going on right now.
Yeah,
but if you want to Zoom call us.
Yeah, Zoom call us. I mean...
I'm not being a bummer, I'm just being realistic.
I'm okay with the Zoom call. That'd still be awesome.
Oh, I would lose my shit. I would feel the need to shower and smell nice for a Zoom call with them. They're great.
They are great.
Yeah.
We're promoting another show, but we're promoting a very good show.
If you like this kind of vibe of like giving a quick run through that's easy to digest, the Dead Meat podcast kind of does that too.
Yeah.
And we're not copying them because everybody does that when they talk about movies.
And you won't hear as many references to other things, but
that's true.
But we are great at that. So I mean,
we are.
If you love us,
Yeah.
And we aren't dating. We're married.
Yet. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. Please take me out to dinner first.
You haven't found the ring yet. Whoop. All right.
Anyway.
You guys can't visually see. All right. Yeah.
Well, if you'd like to watch this very fine masterpiece of fine dining society.
Why are you saying fine so many damn times?
Because it's society. It's very fine. So if you'd like to have a very fine viewing pleasure, you may find this movie currently on Tubi, Amazon Prime,
on Tubi,
YouTube, Google Play, Vudu, iTunes, and Sling TV.
And which ones are free?
It would appear that if you have an Tubi and Amazon Prime, if you have an account, that may change by the time we get this up, as we are recording in September. So month before.
You're breaking the veil of the show that we're recording early.
No, that's fine.
They know. They know.
Well, look at Mr. Creepypasta. Although we do love you, MCP. That would honestly be awesome.
Who?
Mr. Creepypasta.
Oh, yeah, you're more into his stuff than I am.
I love his narration. Very ranged man.
We support both of those shows we mentioned, and neither of them are paying us. So.
Yes. Sling TV, it looks like for a premium subscription, so I haven't used Sling TV personally. But,
me neither.
If you guys use that, it says premium subscription. Usually it says that when you got to pay, even for Hulu and Amazon Prime. So.
Yeah.
Without further ado...
Society. So, main character's Bill,
Yes, we meet Bill Whitney, who's played by Bill Warlock.
Yeah.
It's always fun when you hear a name Billy Warlock and they play a guy named Bill and they call him Billy. It must be really confusing on set.
Oh, or not at all.
Maybe. Well, we first meet Bill Whitney, and you're gonna have to kind of help me here
because I just watched it.
It's just watched it, yeah, and I was watching a couple of other things too. So, I mean, first off...
Well, he's sleepwalking, and he grabs a knife. Holds it the wrong way, by the way. He's like holding it in one hand by the hilt where you're supposed to hold it, but then he's also gripping the edge with another hand.
Was he holding it backwards?
No, he was holding it forward. He had his other hand grabbing the sharp end.
Oh,
and it looked like gripping it pretty tightly. Not recommended, folks.
Yeah, please don't do that.
But his mom finds him sleepwalking. He goes to the therapists, and, like, they're talking about stuff, because he's very paranoid about his parents and his sister.
Which he doesn't believe that they're actually his family. He feels like there's something off.
He doesn't feel like he belongs in this high society world.
Yeah, which is definitely... And that's something that you realize right away with a lot of the other shots, is that...
he's more of a down-to-earth, salt kind of guy.
Yeah, and everybody is rich in that community. Yeah. Everywhere.
Yeah, somehow.
So, everybody's got that upper class, and that's not to say that everybody in real life is like that, but it's definitely
there are some humble rich people out there.
Yeah, but this is definitely kind of the stuck-up, we're a gated community, stay the fuck out.
Yeah. I don't think, is there... I mean, I think you maybe see a few black characters in the background, but for the most part...
Yeah, it's pretty much all white. It is like a really...
Yeah.
Really like...
Which is accurate to the setting, yeah.
It's accurate to the setting, and it's accurate to history.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Exactly.
So that's what I got from it, too.
Yep.
Definitely, as disturbing as this movie is, though, it does have a very ironic twist.
Yeah.
When you really think about it, after seeing what this movie does hold, it really actually makes you think about the impact of society and what it is. Yeah. Kind of like how Starship Troopers does when you peel back the layers, which we'll definitely do on this channel.
War, for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But he bites into an apple, and there's, like, worms there.
Yeah.
Which is super weird.
Yeah, and it's just, like, these little things that kind of set him into motion, like, later in the movie and stuff. Kind of throughout, actually. Mm-hmm. We keep
It's little by little.
Yeah, one of the things that's reoccurring throughout the entire movie is that there's always something in his car or his locker. Mm-hmm. At school, and it goes from like a little Ken doll and something gruesome, to eventually we get to like a sex doll.
Yeah, so it goes from a G.I. Joe figure with a nail in its head to a plastic voodoo doll in his locker to that same G.I. Joe doll stuffed into a blow-up doll.
Yeah,
and that's very bizarre.
And it feels like there should be more.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like there's a lot more time.
That's a big step. 1, 2, 7? What?
Yeah, but it really feels like there was more in there as well.
Yeah.
That was the other part.
Mm-hmm. So then, he goes to his therapist. His therapist tells him not to worry so much because, he's a young guy. He's in high school.
Right.
Assuming a senior. But then, he's playing basketball. His sister thinks she hears her ex coming.
Yeah, which also happens to be his best friend.
Are they best friends? I thought his best friend was the other guy. They're friends. They're friendly.
They are friends. But no, he says that was his friend. He never says he's his best friend later.
The other guy says he's his best friend. His buddy who helps him.
Yeah.
But she's getting dressed and you see some jackets move behind her. So you're like, what the heck is happening? And it turns out her boyfriend, snuck in.
Ex-boyfriend,
right.
And this is his sister, Jenny Whitney.
Yeah.
Played by Patrice Jennings.
Yes. And so then, he's like, calm down, and she's obviously screaming because she's distressed, because who wouldn't be? And then Bill comes in, gets him out of there, and he's like, you gotta listen to me, Bill, this is crazy. He knows there's something going on right away. He learned about the conspiracy, you get the idea, a while before.
Yeah. Yeah, which definitely adds to the unright vibe, because, automatically, too, going into just society, not even looking at the posters, mm-hmm. Whenever you get, a setting that's in a community like that, it becomes quite clear that
not everything's okay.
Not everything's okay.
Yeah.
It's even Mean Girls, for instance.
Oh, that's a great movie.
Yeah, which really I just got.
Movie. Have you seen it before?
Yes. Yeah. Love that. Love that. But, yeah, definitely it's off. And...
Sorry, am I boring you?
Oh, not quite.
Oh, not quite. Give me a few minutes. We got to do 3 episodes today, so bear with us.
Oh, yeah, once I get some Monster Derby. But no, it's one of those movies where you definitely just kind of see all these rich people, and you're automatically everything's a bit too perfect.
It reminds me of Us in the sense of everything's too okay. you know, like...
Yeah, or Get Out.
Yeah. Oh, Get Out.
Which everything is just too...
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Everybody's so sophisticated.
We have that instinct, though, as humans. Like, if things feel too perfect, we know in the back of our minds there's
a sinister.
Yeah.
There's a driving force to scare people.
Summer of '84. Everything seemed fine in that neighborhood.
Everything just seemed too perfect, especially with the neighbor.
Yeah, exactly. So then then we get the debate, right? The first debate, anyway.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's running for class president against this, like, super nerdy guy.
Petrie.
Petrie?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Petrie.
Why did I think Charles? Maybe it's because whenever I think of a white guy with glasses, I think that's his name. But...
Yeah, no, Petrie is... and he's definitely the stereotype of...
nerd. He's not overly stereotypical. Like, he doesn't have, like, a list of, like... you know? But he definitely is a nerd, for sure.
And he's got the stereotypical glasses and everything, but he looks like... He looks like he'd be a class president. He looks kind of like the nerd from Bully, if you guys have ever played the Rockstar game Bully.
Yeah.
Just less acne and stereotypical nerd. So kind of along those lines.
For sure. So he's given the speech for the debate, and they ask about dress codes, and this girl in the front row, she does the Basic Instinct move. Have you never seen Basic Instinct?
No. I just got it, but I haven't seen it yet.
So in that movie, there's a very, very famous scene where this woman crosses and uncrosses her legs.
That scene I have seen, yeah.
So she does that, but instead of, like, crossing and uncrossing, she, like, uncrosses her legs and then just spreads her legs. And I was like, red flag? What?
Not clear! Not clear!
Help! Like, because she's wearing a skirt and he's, like, starts trailing off. He's like, yeah, dress codes are grand. I think if we need
yeah.
I was like, you're definitely in high school.
Well, he's definitely an outcast.
For sure.
So that really kind of establishes just kind of what kind of Petrie is. He's like trying to advocate, but also one of those people that are swayed. But,
no, Petrie's not getting swayed. It's Bill.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's running?
Yeah, Bill and Petrie are running against each other, and Bill is asked the question, and the girl uncrosses her legs, and he sees it, and he starts trailing off and, like, focusing.
That's right.
Because she's friends with Petrie, and Petrie wanted her to distract him. But later on, things change. It's the least ambiguous. But... So then, then is it the beach scene? I feel like it might be the beach scene.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we get a look at, I was going to say Jenny Whitney, but that's not right. We get a look at Bill's date, Shauna.
Yeah, his girlfriend.
Played by Heidi Kozak.
Yeah. All I know her from is the second Slumber Party Massacre.
Yeah, which is also a series that we'll be covering.
Oh, for sure.
Because that is actually one of... The first one is actually one of the most amazing slashers to be directed by a woman, too.
Yeah.
Which not a lot of people know. They always give the male credit. That was a very well done movie. And before you say it, no, there was plenty of boobies in there for an 80s movie, so don't freak out.
Well, and she has said it was a thing that the producers were saying, because it's like, oh, you have to show tits for a slasher to be good. And she's, like, unapologetic as well. She's like, yeah, I didn't like doing it at the time, but at the end of the day, it gave me the career I have, so, well, who cares?
Exactly. Heidi is also in Friday the 13th, Part 7. As well as Teenage.
That's right. That's right. Okay.
It's definitely a slasher horror queen.
Oh, yeah. Not a scream queen, but, you know, she yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're, like, talking on the beach, because she wants to get invited to a party.
Yes.
Whose party is it?
That would be the Popular Kids, if you give me just a second.
He's also the guy we get the fight with later.
Yeah, he's the asshole, of course. Which he plays really well.
Yeah, that's what I love about 80s movies. There's always the designated asshole, who you can tell is an asshole.
But he wasn't as bad as Henry Bowers. Or
no, he didn't cut anybody.
Well, not even that. Henry Bowers, you just naturally look at I can't remember his name. Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
Hamilton, I believe it is.
Something like that. But go on.
Yeah, just looking at him, you get an intimidating vibe, even though he's a really nice guy. The guy who played the bully to Arnie and Christine too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing though. It's a very different set of circumstances because, like, Bowers and the guy from
kind Christine, of white trash.
Well, no, they're not as well to do, and the thing with like rich bullies is they're not like they won't
fight you unless
it's necessary, but they're just more sarcastic and assholey.
Yeah,
like they don't. That's how they intimidate you with their words.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm richer than you. Yeah.
My father will fire your father.
Yeah. You weren't doing an impression of anyone in particular, were you?
But, yeah, we get, they want to go to Ferguson's party, who's played by Ben Mayerston.
Which he did a really good job for his character.
It was very enjoyable to watch him, especially with him and Billy Warlock's chemistry on screen.
Yeah.
It's very, very awesome to always see a Bill and Ferguson scene together.
So he asks him ambiguously, like, "Is there anything going on this weekend?" He goes, "Not that I can think of." And he goes, like, "Well, telegram me if you let me know, all right?"
Before that too, we also get the scene before Bill leaves Shauna. We also get those little kids who steal the lotion.
Yeah, what the heck is that scene? Like, what is the purpose? Like, I don't know. They're hanging out, they're kissing on a beach towel, and then you see some kids army crawl and steal the lotion and like, alien! Like,
and squirt it all over him, so Bill
she's
starts
like,
running
my hair!
Yeah, Bill starts running, and he's like, come here, you little shits, then grabs him and tackles him. Like, tackles kids.
Yeah, straight up. It's so great, but...
And then
he gets the sunscreen back.
Well, first that's when we first meet
formally meet her. Yeah, she was the leg spread lady earlier, but we formally meet her.
Yeah, which if you look her up, you'll understand why she was perfectly okay with those roles.
Look her up at the time.
Yeah. But yeah, we first meet her, which she's like the stereotypical, but stereotypical, the more realistic version of what you consider hot at the time in the 80s.
Yeah, very 80s hot.
Not like makeup and drag, like an actual takes care of themselves kind of beauty person.
She looks like she's not wearing any makeup at all.
Yeah, and right away, which is kind of funny, is that Bill's like, oh shit,
he's looking at her from the sand, and she has the sunscreen, and she's just
squirts all over his face, which made me come up with a few crude jokes like I usually do.
Well, don't say them on here.
No, I'm not crude. Going to.
Put it in the subreddit, guys.
But Jenny is also staring at him and realizing that Bill is just looking her up and down. It's not even like a
he's doing the classic suggestive. I'm a high school boy.
I want to get in there.
Yeah.
Get in there.
Well, Robin Williams said it best. Every man is born with a penis and a brain, and only enough blood to operate one at a time.
And as Vic Reynolds would say in F is for Family, once your dick gets hard, the story never makes sense.
Exactly.
But yeah, so that's officially cool that we get to see her first, which Clarissa plays a huge role.
She does.
Which I feel like kind of tell.
Yeah, we'll get there eventually, but he definitely would have been screwed without her. 100%.
Yeah, she plays a very key role, which you would have thought that she would have been more of a secondary character, not...
Or more of a villainous.
Yeah.
Than she ends up being.
But yeah, very, very much that changes.
Yeah,
so skipping ahead to that Ferguson scene after he goes up and Jenny's been pretty pissed off at him for... obviously looking up and down at another girl who's more attractive than her in a sense. I don't like to say it like that because I'm just that kind of person. But
she is.
But yeah.
At least from our perspectives anyway. But yeah.
Yeah, she's supposed to be the hotter girl.
It was definitely cast that way.
Yeah.
Because even like her bathing suit looks better and like...
Yeah, it was one of those stereotypical 80s. And, yeah. So we see that.
Yeah.
And after Bill talks to Ferguson, he looks over to go tell Jenny that there was pretty much no luck.
And she's gone.
She's gone. There's just an empty towel there.
Yeah, because she clearly got mad because he was oogling.
Yeah, which we do get a shot of her seeing that. And
she's like,
not to mention the other lazy kids, too. And I mean, I don't know how happy I'd be even about my boyfriend body slamming 2 kids at the same time on a beach in front of everyone.
She's a high school girl, and all she knows is, like, her hair just got messed up, so she's pissed. She would probably body slam him herself.
But that's different. I'm sorry, in the world of stereotypes in society, it'd be much, much different for a woman to be chasing after little kids and body slamming them than a grown-ass man running after children going, "Come here, you little shits!" and then picking them up and attack.
Although, we will say, and this is evident by your reaction, you did clearly enjoy that scene.
I did. It was funny.
Can't deny it. Yeah.
Well, simultaneously, I'm not saying this against kids, but we've all felt that way. Like,
yeah,
you little shit, why did you do that? You purposely. Because if there's anything about little kids, they come after everything. They find the most insecure thing about you or the way to piss you off, and they do it.
Well, and it's a funny, like, thing just about life in general and progressing through it, because as a kid, you think, man, I'll never treat kids the way I was treated. And then you're an adult and you're like, I understand why I was treated that way. Because kids are freaking idiots sometimes.
Kids are idiots. They're little fucking monsters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like, yeah. So anyway.
But yeah, then we get Bill walking across the beach, kind of trying to, after he kind of calls out for Shauna a couple of times. And obviously feels bad knowing that he did something.
And he runs into the ex-boyfriend of his sister.
Yeah, that's when we run into, not Milo, we run into,
Blanchard.
Blanchard, that's right, David
That's his
Blanchard.
last name.
David Blanchard.
But everyone always just calls him Blanchard.
Yep. Who's Jenny's ex-boyfriend. We see him, and he basically grabs Bill and tells him that he has something very important, but it's for his eyes, or his ears only. So he escorts him to the other side of the beach behind one of the dock houses, one of the pier houses.
Yep.
Or lookout stations.
And he opens this like suitcase, and it's filled with all this tech stuff and like very, very Radio Shack.
Which is really cool actually for the 80s. I mean, but yeah, and it turns out that he bugged his so-called, even you're getting the vibe from Bill, his so-called parents.
Yeah,
car.
And sister.
Yeah.
To which he is initially pissed, not because of his parents, but because of his sister, and the circumstances of that being the ex-boyfriend. You would be pissed too.
I mean, it's really creepy, especially when you appear in the house and go bother her after you've broken up. Like, dude, you're in my house bothering my sister. That doesn't seem a little creepy?
Yeah.
And then bugging the car so you can hear the conversations?
Yeah. And I get it. She's a 9 and you're like a 4. You're wondering how you screwed it up in the first place. But let it go.
Right. Move on.
Seriously, look at those two characters and think for a second that they had a relationship. Is it not strange?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Which I could go on a spiel about that some other time, but
yeah.
I do have some guns on that. But yeah, we see Bill, who then pins him up against the wall and is like freaking out until
he hasn't listened to more of it.
Yeah, David. Well, before he plays a little bit, or does he play? Yeah, he plays a little bit. Yeah,
well, that's when he realizes that he bugged him.
Yeah,
he hears it and infers that from the information that was given.
Yeah, and then he kind of listens. He plays it a little more and just kind of gets Bill to calm down just enough to kind of have him hear the tape. Which we get our first really disturbing thing is about his sister.
Because she had her coming out party, which sounded like a quinceañera or a sweet 16 or something like that.
Well, for me even, and that might just be because of day and age too. I was thinking that maybe it's like coming out like, oh yeah, you can explore your sexuality now. So if you like girls, you can celebrate if we like girls or guys in this high-class society. No. This is an orgy. Mm-hmm. Into which, the first thing that we hear, which is going to be the most probably adult thing on this channel. First we'll do
dinner, and then we'll do copulation. That's actually a line said.
From the parents to the daughter, and they're like, we can't wait to have you. And then Bill will have you, and she's like, oh, well, I'm so sad that Bill couldn't make it tonight. which already gives you the really very fucked up vibes. Which,
oh my god!
Which when I reheard that, I was like, I don't think I heard that right.
Yeah, you did. You did.
Yeah, and then and
the parents, she's like, I can be with whoever I want, and
even girls.
Yeah, and then the mom's like, yeah, and we'll be there too, and it's like, be there.
Why do you need to be there?
No.
Why don't you fuck off and go back to bed? Or I was gonna do a Peter line. Why don't you fuck off and go back to hell?
Yeah, just like very no. So he's obviously distraught from hearing this, to put it lightly.
Yeah, but that's not even the worst part. The worst part is we also get...
We hear noises.
We hear Jenny making some very suggestive noises for our audience. You will know very well. And it turns out that we hear Ferguson talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hear some other questionable things after Ferguson makes some very questionable raw type of noises.
And you hear someone screaming for help.
Yeah, and then after that, you also hear some other noises with Jenny, and some other voices making the same noise as Ferguson.
Exactly.
So obviously, Bill is pissed off at this point.
Yeah.
Wondering what the heck is happening. And,
what did his little sister just get into? What's going on?
And that's always, like, you know, wanting to be protective. And, you know, that's what one good element of this movie is that despite the fact of him being questioned, you know, kind of questioning his family, that he also has, you know, he also has that kind of mindset of protecting his sister, even if she's not really his sister. And one other thing, too, is that... he did grow up with this family, so he's always kind of felt like this, from what we understand, or at least until he was old enough to understand. Infer. Yeah. So, after that, where do we go after he kind of...
Because he goes to his therapist.
Yeah, and he does resent what he just heard, because, you know, it's kind of hard to swallow all that. You know, not in a joking way, but it is. I just realized how bad that is. No one was thinking that
until you said it. Good job. Now we're both pervs.
That is one way. That's a lot of information to take in.
So he's like, "Here, leave me." He's like, well, "You have to listen to this tape right now." And he's like, "I can't listen to it. Here, leave it with me, and I'll listen to it and we'll talk tomorrow." And he thinks that he bugged him. He bugged them.
Right. So,
but then the tape says, like, dinner and dancing with anyone they want, and...
Right. And that's the disturbing part. And I mean, after Bill kind of resents this, you know, he goes out to his therapist, in which, is Dr. Cleveland, who's played by, Ben Slack.
Yeah.
Which you already get off vibes about the doctor, just kind of from the get-go, because...
Well, he says at one point, he goes, "It's going to be great." And he's like, "What is? You're going to be such a good contributing member to society."
Which is something that's said a lot.
Yeah.
Which always makes you uncomfortable, because it's like, no one just goes around saying, "You'll make an excellent contribution to society." Maybe if you were graduating...
And if they do, they're freaking weird.
I mean, if you're graduating and they say, "You'll make an excellent contribution to the societal, you know, system," then I could get that. You know, you're graduating, you're finally going off into the big world. But to just keep saying it over and over and over...
he hears it a lot in this movie. From his mom, from that guy.
And even him being a senior, it just doesn't add up, like, just hearing that. Because it's like, why would you keep on saying that time after time after time? The guy hasn't graduated. He's not moving to a new city or moving out on his own.
Yeah. He hasn't even said what he wants to do for a living.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes it that much more more curious, and adds to the tension and kind of build up of what you're worried about and think is happening.
Yeah. Well, and his dad finds the microphone.
Yeah.
On his sister's earring.
Oh, did he? Yeah, that is a part.
That happened during the conversation with the therapist.
Right.
Because then he calls the guy and he's like, "Well, I'll get another copy of the real tape. You'll see." And he like calls him to get another copy.
Right.
But then you see that an accident has occurred, and a pretty bloody one as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So Blanchard has this accident.
Yeah.
And super bloody and gross.
Yeah, and that's when we, like... Okay, and compared to, like, unlike the Five Nights at Freddy's novel... Mm-hmm. We have Bill walk onto a crime scene.
Yeah.
And unlike Five Nights at Freddy's, a cop officer actually walks over to him and says, "Hey, you can't be here."
Yeah, what are you doing? Like, you know, like a reasonable person. Well, he grabs, like, the cassette player and he's like, this isn't a garage sale.
Yeah. But, like, the thing about the cop is he was a real smartass. Like,
he really was.
It wasn't just like I'm an authority figure. It was like, I'm a smartass. What you gonna do about it?
Yeah, I have a gun. Like,
yeah, and it's like, dude,
yeah,
fuck off.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, he's just a whole dick.
Yeah. So then, after stepping on a lot of his friend's blood.
Yeah, a lot of glass. Which there's two cars in the collision, but we never see. One of the things too before we move on is that we see a body.
Yep.
Under bloody rags, and when Bill asks is he dead, just assuming that it's Blanchard, the paramedics give him a very strange look, and synchronize, and then look away, close the back of the ambulance, and start driving away.
Yeah.
And then we go through the thing with the cop, and then
he gets home. His parents and his sister already know. And then they're like, "Oh, you also got invited to this guy's party."
Immediately after,
telling him, like, they're like, sucks. Like yeah.
And this sends Bill into a tangent because, and with reason too. He's like,
"This was a person we knew, we're very close with."
Yeah, and it's like, and he even says, "I know that him and Jenny may have not been on the best of terms, but he's still another human being." So, to just disregard it like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we don't get a reaction out of Mr. or Mrs. Whitney, really. They just kind of are like, all right, whatever. It's not our problem.
But he finds out he was invited to that one guy's party.
Which is Ferguson's party.
Yeah, Ferguson's party. And his sister's like, "So what are you going to wear?" And he goes, "To the funeral?" And she's like, "No, to the party, silly." And it's like, silly? A man is dead.
Yeah, it's like, what was it? Was it you who told me that? Or like one other person that's like, it's something about like action movies.
What do you mean?
Where it's like, you know, people be like super comedic.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was talking about that. Well, no, it was like, it's in like all those shows like NCIS and CSI or something like that, where like you'll see a teacher who was dead or something, and it's like, school's out, and it's like, dude, a man is dead.
Yeah, and it's
like this is going to affect everyone he knew, regardless of their standing with him.
And their students.
Have a little heart.
Like that was the best teacher in the school.
Exactly. Or, and it's like you always get the guy who's like still doing his job while getting questioned by homicide detectives. Like, yeah, he worked here a couple days a week, but, you know, I didn't see him that often. Why? Did something happen? I don't know, idiot. You're being questioned by homicide detectives. What do you think?
Yeah, it's like, they're very casual about it.
Yeah, like, how often... I get that you're a detective, and I get that you're literally in this job code around dead bodies all the time.
But to make so many jokes on site, at least wait and get in the damn car before you start making jokes. Yeah. It's like Vince Masuka and Dexter.
Yeah, school's out. What are you talking about?
During that episode during Christmas. Ho, 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 another dead ho.
Exactly. If you see a dead fisherman on the street, your first reaction isn't going to be like, someone's missing a catch. It's going to be like, oh my god, a dead body.
Yeah, I see Vince Masuka doing that, though.
Yeah.
Somebody missed out on a catch.
Yeah, that stupid gosh dang laugh. Okay.
But I love it.
So he goes to Ferguson's party.
Goes to Ferguson's party, which pretty much the entire neighborhood and society, basically.
It looks like a fun pool party.
Been invited to, yeah, and we see how big I think their mansion is, if I remember right.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
it's huge.
And
got the valet and everything.
Yeah, which is so you know, which that's my question too. Is like, how are these people, like, how are these people like picking who's a valet and stuff? They're supposed to be societal members.
I'm assuming there's a service. Because, like, every gated community has a valet service nearby where you just hire people to park cars.
I mean, it must be something specific, judging by what the end of the movie entails.
Yeah.
So there must be some sort of...
Yeah, we won't get into it, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
There's some sort of code.
Mm-hmm. So he gets there and he runs back into... Is it...
Well, he goes...
Shannon or Shauna or...
He runs into Clarissa.
Clarissa. Why did I... Oh, yeah, Shauna's his girlfriend. Clarissa. Oh, that's right. Him and Shauna had a conversation, and one of the things... earlier than this, and one of the things she said to him was, like, maybe we should start seeing other people.
Because she thought he was being way too paranoid. Yeah. And it was on top of, his friend's death, already kind of feeling like an outcast... Her disappearing from the beach party, or the beach.
But she was taking all of it as negatives to her. And he's like, would you listen? Like,
yeah, which, even for me, I was like, dude, calm the fuck down. This ain't gonna end well for you.
Exactly. Like, I try to look at it from another person's standpoint. Like, yeah, I would think this person is crazy. Like,
or just so an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. So Clarissa's there, and he's like, he is hypnotized anytime he sees this girl.
Yeah, it's really weird. It's like a Class of Nukem High type.
So strange, and like they're dancing and whatever. They're making small talk, and then like
he goes back to see Ferguson.
Yeah, well, Milo comes to find him. He's like, "Did you hear about what happened to Blanchard? What should we do?" And Clarissa goes back to the tent with Ferguson. He's like, "Yeah," and he follows her.
Right, and that's where he sees Ferguson and. Needless to say, from the tape that he heard earlier, that Bill is absolutely pissed.
Yeah, because he's pretty sure he boinked his sister.
Which, we do learn that Ferguson had a very pleasant experience, and that a lot of other people, including the parents, had a very fun experience, which is kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Don't give away the farm. We won't.
No, but it is kind of disturbing that everybody got aroused from that and started having fun, and we don't need to have that.
We really don't.
Yeah.
So he gets in a fight with him.
Well, Bill tries to. He punches him in the face a couple of times, and then, like any other rich kid or bully, he goes, "Oh, hey, I can't get my hands dirty. Can you
gets some other dudes, yeah. And he pushes him in the pool.
Please take care of him and get out."
Yes. And then Clarissa like gets him out of the pool and like lets him dry off at her place. And they, God, what's the term I want to use? They make the sex.
Oh, I thought we were going to say that they put the bees in the birds.
Is that what? Wait, are bees
birds
the guys?
And the bees. I don't know. The birds and the bees. I don't know.
I don't know. My school didn't do well at sex education.
I just think the bird would eat the bees. So that kind of makes more sense.
Okay, so they make the sex. They make the sex.
Make the sex.
And there's like a weird thing where like her hand is a place it shouldn't be, and like her chest is an area it wouldn't make sense.
As they're getting into it, in the middle, what we see, and that's something that we saw earlier, kind of with Jenny.
Shower, yeah.
What ends up happening is that Bill goes to grab some soap and then ceases. I was watching this
suntan lotion.
Yeah, which before he goes to the beach, so we're going back a little bit.
Yeah, we skipped over this part because it's very weird, but it's also not. It doesn't
hold really any relevant value. Kind of just adds to your suspicion. But it's very weird because his sister's taking a shower and I had to restart this because I was working on something at the time.
I was doing research.
Well, yeah, I was doing something for a paper, and so I just had it on the background so I could actually get it back. But I popped to the part where he opens the shower door, and I was just thinking,
because everything looks normal when he opens it.
That's your sister. Why are you opening it? That's your sister. There.
I mean,
when I rewatched the scene,
yeah.
But the thing is, we see her backwards, and we kind of get the outline of her breasts, and
but you also see
her butt.
It's like
her butt is facing.
Imagine somebody grabbed your torso, like right at your waist,
and did a 180.
Yeah, That's exactly what it is. And it looks so weird.
Yeah, it looks like she's like literally has her legs on backwards.
Yeah. So she looks like that. His sister looks like that in the shower, but he opens the door and then she looks normal and kicks him out.
Which, she's surprisingly calm.
Yeah.
For her brother seeing her completely naked.
Yeah. Not like
and
creepy
randomly
calm, but like you should have more of a reaction. Like, you should be throwing stuff at him.
Yeah, like, I'm your sister.
Yeah.
We're both seniors in high school.
Is she the same age as him?
Yeah.
Okay.
To my knowledge, I believe so.
Okay, I thought she was younger.
Well, she might be, but that's even worse.
Yeah, exactly. So then... Yeah, Clarissa has that same weird thing going on where it looks like it's a 180 body shot.
Which, the thing about her is that Bill notices because he's making out with her and on top of her, and then he feels something weird.
Well, he feels a hand. But he, like, looks at her hand touching his shoulder, but then he also sees what should be that same hand, like, on his waist. So he's like, what the frick? Like,
yeah, so then he hops out of bed, and then we see her laying in bed with her butt in the front instead of her, whoop!
It's not like there's blankets over it, but we can make out the shapes.
Yeah, that she's basically done a bottom torso 180.
Yeah.
Which is, like, what the hell?
It's so weird.
Yeah.
So then, afterwards, she's in, like, a bathrobe, and his clothes are dried. And, do you want to say the line? Or, because I'm not saying it.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
There's the infamous line.
Oh, God. The line that is always cited by people who watch this movie.
Which, after they've done having fun and making the sucks.
Yeah, she's making him some, what is it, a post-coital tea.
Yeah, and she's like, what is it, milk, honey?
How do you take your tea?
Milk, honey, or...
Sugar.
Or milk, sugar, or do you want me to pee in it?
Why?
And I don't know if it was supposed to be a joke, because it's like, right away you're like...
And he's surprisingly calm when she asks that. Like, how many times has a girl asked you that, man?
Well, I think she just found it as maybe an uncomfortable joke. But
yeah.
That was a bit much for me. I'm like, no!
A bit much. Like,
don't offer that!
Listen. I don't care if we've been married for 3 years, and this is like we sleep together 3 times a week or whatever standard. The second you ask me that question... I'm filing. Like, no, I'm not. No.
I don't want to know. That's like asking, do you want me to take a dump on your food?
No! When have I ever expressed interest in that? Like,
exactly. It's right out of the blue. There's no leading up to it. It's so weird.
Like, I get that you just met him, so you don't know what his kinks are, but there's a difference between stepping in the pool and cannonballing and making all the water go out. Okay?
Yeah, so like, for all of you that are like, oh, guys are gross, just keep in mind this is a line.
Yeah, this is a line by a woman.
Yeah, and I've met some strange people in real life that are female as well that have said some very interesting things.
You've had more of an adventurous life than I have.
Adventurous in not always the best ways.
Exactly. Like, yeah, like I can still sleep at night.
Like, some of them I really wish, I'm just like, I really wish that didn't happen.
The mistakes you remember that you remember at, like, halfway through your shower. Like, you ever have, like, horrible memories and you're like, why? Like,
yeah, you're just like, why now?
Why when I was in 2nd grade did I call the teacher mom? Why? Like,
yeah, see, and it's stuff like that all the time. I won't go into a story, but, you know, when I was in 2nd grade, just going off topic real quick,
okay.
I had somebody show me something they shouldn't have, and it was another student, and I was very confused. Mm-hmm. So I told my teacher.
Yeah.
And that came up the other day when I was in the shower. And I'm just sitting there like, why now?
Yeah, why did I think of this now?
And why did I think of it at all?
Yeah, exactly. Well, because shower thoughts. You think of a lot of things when you're taking a shower.
You have too much free time.
It's meditative. It's meditative. It's very stimulating.
I really just like thinking about my show and making short films in college.
Oh, your show. I see how this deal is going.
Did I say my show? I thought
you said my show.
I said making the show.
No, you said my. I just like thinking about my show. You have it on recording. You can play it back later.
Okay, in my mind, I heard making the show.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
I did!
No, it's fine. We record at your house. You pick the movies. It's your show.
Oh, wow. Sadar really
Welcome to the Noah Sweeto Show with Nathaniel Shoemaker. Our new title. God.
Gross. I don't even like that name.
I know. Welcome to NS, starring NS.
Everybody, what is it? Nick Star?
Yeah.
Everybody, throw up your hands or shake your booties. I don't want to be that guy.
No. No one does.
But,
So yeah, she asks him the awkward question. And then, who is it, Milo comes to the door?
Milo comes to the door, yeah, or no, it's actually, that's the first time we get a look at...
her mom.
Yeah, Mrs. Carolyn.
Really? Well, he ran into her at the beach earlier.
Yeah, and she has this blank, very blank, like, I'm a troll, I'm gonna eat you stare.
Imagine how you think someone's face is, like, how their face would look post-lobotomizing. That's what she looks like.
Yeah. Like a very Frankenstein, but alive.
Well,
and not as ugly.
Clarissa's like, "What are you doing here? I told you not to come here. You're embarrassing me." And he's, like, super gentleman about it, because, you know, he's got a thing for her. So he's like, "Oh, I'll meet her mom. Cool. Hi, nice to meet you." And he shakes her hand, and there's hair in it. And it's like...
And it's not hers, it's blonde.
Yeah, it's not her hair. Definitely not her hair, not Clarissa's. And it's like, what the heck is with the hair? Like...
But the scariest part is that, A, she looks so young.
Mm-hmm.
She's played by Pamela Mathis.
No, okay.
Matheson. Oh, she unfortunately passed.
Oh.
She was born in 1955 and passed in 1977 or 1997.
I was gonna say she passed before the movie was made. It's quite the trick.
1997. That's sad.
Wow. The mom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, she was a bigger lady, so it wouldn't surprise me if she died like in her 40s, something like that.
You never know. And she kind of, I don't even know how tall she was too. But
yeah, she was very tall.
Yeah, it doesn't even say her height.
It might be one of those things then where her body got too big for her heart, perhaps.
Yeah,
that happened.
Because she was tall.
Yeah.
Because what Billy Warlock is...
was she wearing heels? I didn't...
She might have been. Because, he's 5'7", but she was at least a foot taller.
Yeah. And I don't care who you are. There are no foot-tall heels.
Well, she wasn't wearing heels on the beach scene either. And he bumped into her, like, flat in the chest.
Yeah.
Like, flat in the chest. And it was like... She's like at least a foot or so taller than he was.
Very. Yeah, she was perfect casting for this character.
Yeah, so, I mean, him being 5'7", she had to be at least 6'7", so that could be.
Yeah.
But, yeah, she's a great actress, though. It's Stone, you know, and there's something to be said about acting, especially, like, when it comes to, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, for instance, in The Terminator. You know, there's being a... kind of robotic, unhuman-like being. Anybody can do that. Anybody can look mindless. But it takes a lot of effort and a lot of feel to sell that illusion. To walk, you know, like in a creepy way or like less than human.
Exactly.
And it takes a lot to convince the audience. Because it's one thing that you have to convince yourself and the people that are on the set. But you also need to realize, too, that you're trying to convince an audience for a movie. So that is definitely...
It's like trying, like, the guy who plays Daredevil in the Daredevil show.
Yeah, Charlie Cox.
He nailed the I look like I'm blind look. Because just look at his eyes.
Oh, yeah, they're very all over. They're all over. He never looks
He never looks at anyone. He's just always, like, straightforward but kind of down. And it's like, he must have really studied, like, blind people and, like, how their eyes look. And, like...
Yeah, Joaquin Phoenix did that for The Laugh.
Yeah.
That person who uncontrollably laughed, and he mimicked that amazingly.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So he meets the mom, and then what happens?
Scarlett, and then, well, it's odd because Clarissa treats her like she's the teenager.
Yeah, which, I mean, it seems like her mom's, like, not all there, but she treats her, like, really rude.
Yeah, and she looks so young. That's the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
She looks very, very young.
Yeah.
So it kind of makes you question that too.
Yeah. Not a lot is revealed about the mom either.
No, and that's something that because spoiler too, not necessarily spoiler, but there was supposed to be a sequel to this movie. The ending leaves it quite open. Even suggests it really pushed for the fact that we're going to make a sequel. Mm-hmm. Kind of like The Stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if you guys listen to our episode of that, or The Blob was very set up. Both were very, very set open to sequels, which The Blob was supposed to get one and never did because of box office performance. The Stuff was kind of a hit or miss. It was supposed to be one of those summer flicks that, like, if you do, you do. If you don't, you don't. Mm-hmm. And I think, from what I understand, the Society got a comic series.
Yeah.
To follow it up instead. It got two set.
That sounds right.
So yeah, and I don't think they follow the character, so we really never get to hear much about
Billy,
but we definitely don't get to hear about Miss Carlin
or Clarissa.
Yeah, which she's a very intriguing character because she does look so brain dead,
and she does not say a word.
Yes, she does not breathe a word. We don't ever hear her speak. We know that she can comprehend.
Yeah, we kind of hear her go, oh, but like, that's about it.
It really sets it up, and it really makes her stand out, kind of like Billy. And by the end of the movie, it makes you question a lot of things.
If you weren't already.
Yeah, and one of the things that we left out, too, is that during this time, Shauna and her friend are up in the car.
She learns that he definitely made the Bang Bang music with her, with Clarissa.
Yeah.
To which it's like...
You broke up with him.
Yeah, Okay, she said the phrase, I've been thinking we should maybe see other people. To us guys, that sounds like you dumped him.
And I know, like, you know, just from being a more sensitive person and kind of understanding, it's like, that's the way to be like, oh, at least try to win me back.
Yeah, like, continue the conversation and not just say, like, oh.
Yeah, I'm pissed at you now, but I want to hear from you.
Exactly.
Later. But, you know, to any guy in high school, you're just like...
in high school, especially. Because if you think we're dumb as adults, oh, boy.
Yeah, well, because, you know, especially it's like, you know, if anybody told you that, you're going to think, regardless, that somebody's going to not want to talk to you.
Exactly.
Because then you also have those people who really don't want to talk to you. Mm-hmm. So that's a big part of this, too, is, you know, and she gets pissed off and sad about it, and she can't believe that he did that. But at the same time, you understand, because it's like, you know, I mean, I still think it's a dickish move, just being on the opposite side of relationship-wise, which you obviously know what I'm referring to. To get together with somebody, like, as soon as you know, kind of trash a relationship with someone else. Yeah, it's a very shitty thing to do. Please, guys out there, don't do that. It's a very shitty thing to do.
Guys and girls don't do that. It's very shitty. And also it's not good for yourself.
No,
like you got to give yourself
treating them as a rebound.
Yeah, you got to give yourself some time to process the past relationship, move on, make sure you have no residual feelings, and then try and make it work with somebody else.
Yeah, and it's definitely not fair to the person you're with.
No, because that person doesn't know that they're
rebound. Or just there as a stint.
Gap.
Yeah, they're just there to fill.
Yeah.
They're there to fill. And that's something that, you know, this movie almost kind of goes for.
Yeah.
In a way, to say without spoiling it. But it's definitely, you definitely feel chemistry between the two, though. It doesn't feel synthetic. And that's one of the things that kind of...
There's definitely heat.
There's definitely heat.
And eventually you do feel like they both genuinely care about each other's well-being.
Yeah, at the very least. Mm-hmm. So after we leave, after Shauna drives off in the night, where do we go? We cut to school, don't we?
Yeah. Well, or the funeral?
Oh yes, the funeral, and we see Bill is there. And he's just kind of staring into Blancher's casket.
Yeah, his buddy pokes his face.
Well, no, Purdy did that, or no?
It was his friend.
Oh yeah, Pertwee comes up.
Pertwee comes up to talk to him, but
says that
his friend poked his face and it collapses, so we know it's a fake body.
Yeah, because Blancher has a mole. Specifically on his face.
Mm-hmm. And the guy poked the mole and it caved in on itself.
Which, it didn't look right, too. That's like the other thing.
It looked like a vase.
Well, even before it...
the mole looked wrong, yeah.
The mole looked a little, like, too dark and too synthetic.
Yeah. But Petrie tells him, he's like, I have some stuff to tell you about the society and about his death and everything. So,
and to meet him in the woods at I forget what the exact location is, but it's to meet him out of woods in the
behind a bridge, location. Some kind of place.
Yeah. And so we cut to that night, and obviously now Bill is very suspicious because of all the things that have been happening between his parents not caring, David Blanchard, getting him those tapes and then disappearing in an accident.
Well, then I would be suspicious of Petrie wanting to, help him all of a sudden.
Yeah, which Petrie, is rebel. He's always with Ferguson, but he's never explicitly doing anything. Like when he's thrown into the pool when Bill's thrown into the pool at Ferguson's party,
he's not the guy who put
Petrie just kind of looks at him and wants to help him, but he kind of gives him that look of, I'm disappointed that you handled it this way, but I'm sorry because you didn't deserve that.
Exactly. So you get the idea that he's probably a good guy. I don't know.
But he's not really in the mood to hurt anybody. He's just trying to.
He's just a dude.
Yeah. So Bill decides that it's a good idea to meet with him. So he meets him that night and kind of waits for him, goes into the woods to kind of go look for him.
And he finds his car.
And in the trailer, his car crashed.
Yeah, his car
again too. Yeah, it's wrapped around a tree.
Yep, and he pulls him out, and he's spurting his body falls out of the car, and there's blood coming out of his neck.
Out of the trunk, though. That's what makes it really suspicious.
Was it out of the trunk?
It was out of the trunk.
I thought it was out of the back seat, but okay, yeah.
No, it was in the trunk. He opens the trunk, and that's when Petrie's body falls out.
And there's blood dripping from the neck, and it looks like a stab wound, and not like an accident.
Yeah, it looks like somebody literally took it and sliced a jugular open.
Mm-hmm. So then he goes, because Clarissa's house is nearby.
Well, before that, we have somebody who's running through the woods.
Oh, yeah.
Which he chases after somebody who is just laughing here and there, never really says anything. Then picks up a coat on his way out. Like he dropped it or that he purposely left it there. And then he runs off into the night. And that's when we go to...
Yeah, he goes to Clarissa's house.
We
don't see him go to Clarissa's house, but it's implied. And he comes back with her and some cops. And then different cars there.
Yeah, and the cops harass Bill. And we get that asshole cop and his partner. And they really just...
same two cops.
Yeah, they really just harass the hell out of him. And Clarissa. To which Clarissa says, "Are you serious right now? And you're honestly going to do this to a lady, too?
Exactly. You're going to frisk me, or what's going on?"
Yeah, and you're going to mess with just a teenage couple?
And so he doesn't feel safe going home, so he just sleeps in his Jeep with Clarissa for the night.
Yeah, and he comes home the next day, and that's when we get some really off vibes, because his parents...
More off than usual.
Yeah, well, we go to the debate at the high school first, and Bill comes up on the stage to talk about Petrie and says that he has been murdered and that I saw him last night.
For a cover-up for the society.
Yeah, and he goes on this huge tangent in which the whole gym laughs at him, and...
Because Petrie shows up.
Yeah, Petrie comes completely unharmed. He's like, "What are you talking about? I'm here.
Yeah,
I was just late.
I had something? I was a little late."
He's like, "I had some car trouble." Which, I'm sorry, is the oldest thing in the book, even before the 80s. Exactly. So it always gives you that, okay, so you're going to pull I got the car issue thing. You can only use that so many times. Especially with such a straight face.
Exactly.
You think, and that's, this movie is very good at building the tension.
It really is.
Because, and that's one of the things I like. And, I, maybe as somebody who's doing short films and going to college for filming, maybe I'm looking into it maybe way too much. But, I really look into these characters. And, that's, one of the things that set me off was Petrie was so calm. He wasn't like, "I'm sorry, I'm running for president. I'm so sorry, I'm late. I'm here now."
And he's like, "What's going on?"
He just walks up slowly and it's just like, everything's fine. Or the fact that, he probably walked in during that time and was like, "We're not worried that Bill just said I was murdered," and what he saw. So, it really adds to the extra uncertainty vibe.
Yeah. So then, his buddy...
We meet him, he walks out to the parking lot because Bill's just had enough. He's like, "I'm not going to school today, fuck it, I'm done. This is too much."
Yeah, and his buddy follows him...
out to his Jeep.
And he tells him he's the one who's been pranking him with those things in his Jeep or in his locker.
To which Bill freaks out, pins him against the car, and then we see Milo's true strength.
Yeah.
And he pushes him back against his Jeep, against Bill's Jeep, and tells him that it's your fault. I've been pissed at you because you haven't been a good friend. You've been fucking off who knows where, not paying attention to me, not, And it's kind of an Arnie situation. That's what it reminded me of. Arnie Cunningham and Christine. Right. How Arnie just totally neglects his best friend the more he becomes attached to Christine.
Yeah, it's a very obsession thing.
Yeah, and I think with Bill, it sounds like they've already been having trouble, that Bill is already, because he doesn't feel like he doesn't belong, he hasn't been associating with anybody, but really then the only time that he calls on Milo is when he has all these problems.
Exactly. Which is not a cool thing to do to a friend.
Yeah, you never not talk to somebody and then only contact them or reach out when you have an issue. It's a very, very dickish thing to do. So obviously, it makes sense that Milo's pissed.
Yeah.
And we totally back that.
100%.
But then, does he say anything?
He said that he followed him and he saw the body too. And he saw some guys carrying it away or something like that. So he knows something's up.
Yeah, after Bill left.
Yeah, so he's like, you go to your parents' house and I'll follow you. And I'll be your backup,
And to which, his sister at the rally had said that Mom and Dad are pissed.
Yeah, because you didn't come home last night. We're worried about you.
And that's when we get the really creepy vibe. Is when he walks in there, and
his psychiatrist there, his parents, his sister. Is the judge there too?
No, it's just the psychiatrist and the parents and the sister, and they're all calm. And then we have two men that grab Bill.
Yeah, because you see an ambulance pull up into the house.
Yeah, and they throw him down the ground and drug him out. Mm-hmm. And the psychiatrist is like, I'm sorry.
I hate having to drug you.
I hate having to give you your medicine. Because earlier in the film, too, he gave him a prescription when he talked about how he didn't fit in, how he felt suspicious.
He's like a psychiatrist who doesn't really believe in medicating, which, no.
Yeah. Just throw some med at you and just like, whatever. So then he gets taken away. Milo follows him.
He goes into they go to a hospital. He goes in, asks the front desk lady for his name.
Yeah, receptionist. And she
says he's at the morgue.
Yeah, that he can't find.
She can't find his records for
him being admitted.
Room, yeah, because he's in the morgue.
And Milo's like, that's absolutely impossible. I just watch them take him in.
Yeah, exactly.
So he goes down to check. Does he go down and check the morgue? No, he does not. He goes out to his car. He goes outside.
Yeah, and then realizes because he goes outside and the Jeep is there.
Bill's Jeep is there, yeah, which is very strange. Mm-hmm. And he's like, okay, something is not right. Why would his Jeep be here if he's not here?
Exactly. So then he's in the hospital and he wakes up.
We see Bill wake up in the hospital bed, and to which he looks over and sees Arnie's freaking out, and a bunch of doctors who are doing like an open surgery on him while he's fully conscious.
Yeah.
Was it Blanchard or was it supposed to be Petrie?
It was Blanchard.
Oh yeah, it was supposed to be Blanchard. And then we
see like a silhouette. We don't see a full.
Yeah. So Bill gains the strength to get up, pulls back the curtains, and
now he's full pissed.
Yeah, well, because no one's behind there.
Yep.
And so it drives him nuts. So he grabs his own clothes, and then heads out, and then tries to pass himself off as completely normal, which is very smart on his part. Mm-hmm. He walks out of the hospital and sees Milo and acts really weird. And at first I questioned them, like, you know what? That's actually very smart.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know who's on your side after that. Mm-hmm. Even if it is Milo, but a lot has happened if you've been unconscious all the way till night.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, fresh start. I'm dead right now legally? Cool. I'll just get out of here. Whatever.
Yeah, and to which he... Does he drive home?
He goes to Clarissa's first.
Clarissa's...
And her whole hypnotizing on him thing doesn't work anymore. And it's like, it's a super weird scene. Because he grabs her by the neck to push her against the wall. Because, again, he doesn't know who's with who or who's against who. And she says something akin to... Let's go upstairs, I'll be your bad little girl, daddy. And I was like, why this dialogue? Why? Like, why? And he, like, starts smacking her around. She's smacking him back, and...
It's a very intimate scene, you know, because...
No, it's not. We love aggressive.
We love the aggression of the human male animals.
Yeah, domestic abuse. Always fun? No, it's not at all. Not a joke.
Please do not smack people. It is very impolite and rude. And abuse.
So then he's like, well, I'm going to go to my parents' house, and we're going to finish this. And she's like, she tries to tell him not to. And you kind of get the idea that whatever the society thing is, she's a part of it. But she says, no, don't. I'm in love with you. And it's like, oh, okay. She was initially supposed to distract him, but now she's actually, like, in love with him.
Right, and that's where the really kind of
really
fucked up
sweet.
Part.
Really sweet, though.
Yeah, and that's kind of, like, what the fucked up part is that you think that she's trying to lure him in this whole time.
Yeah, but it turned... Well, she was initially, and then she changed her mind.
Yeah. And then he heads out and tells her that he's going to go back to the house, in which she tells him that it's not safe. But... he still goes anyway and tells her that he has to do this. And that's when we get a creepy Mrs. Carlin in the back of his car who starts to...
No. So his friend has been following him this whole time. And she's in the back of his car.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Yep.
Yeah. And then she starts feeling up his hair.
Yeah, she grabs at his hair and he's like... drives the car and he's like, don't touch the hair. It's really funny, actually.
It is. And she just sits there like, but I want to. Yeah, it feels like me whenever white people see me and they're like, can I touch your hair? No. Leave me alone. I'm not a petting zoo. I'm a human being. Not a petting zoo.
It's nice. I poked it. I didn't pet it. So anyway, he goes to the party. He goes to his house and party's in full swing. You know, we got the valet. We got all these people in like dresses and suits and like everything.
Yeah, which their mansion is huge as well. Everybody's got like a fucking mansion. I want to be this rich.
It's the hills, man. Everybody's rich. So he gets there and his friend was following him and he goes in the house and he's like, I'm ready, whatever. He grabs a knife too. But then he gets like, they put a dog catching stick leash around his neck.
Yeah,
hit
one
him
of
to
those.
The ground.
Yeah, and to which everybody just starts laughing at him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's when we learn from the judge, one of the old men that
we get an explanation about all this,
which is that basically his parents weren't his parents, so he's been growing up with complete utter strangers, and that everybody was an actor in that sense, and that he was right the entire time.
Yeah, there is a secret society going on, and he was saying the judge says something like, "Your people have always been so fragile and like." Soft and all this stuff, and he like yells at him, alien scum, and he's like, we're not aliens.
We've been here just as long as you have.
Yeah. So then like he says to the guests like his family has been grooming him in their own house for years, but first an appetizer, something akin to that, and then they bring in a guy who's wearing like hospital gown and he's got a sheet over his face. And they take it off, and it's Blanchard.
Yeah, who is surprising, but also not surprising to see that he's alive.
Yeah, and then you're gonna have to take this part. I'm not saying any of this.
That's when we get this very sensual, amazing. See, no, I'm just kidding. It's very graphic, so
it's very graphic.
Feel free to skip ahead on the podcast if you don't want to hear in great detail, because I am going to go into detail.
Yeah, we'll put. Is there a description of episodes?
Yeah,
we'll put like in the description the time to skip to.
We'll try and remember, but assume that it's going to be about 3-4 minutes.
Go ahead.
So. That is when we get Ferguson, who says to Bill, pay attention closely because you're next. Mm-hmm. And we get everybody, all the females and the judge, all start ripping off their clothes. All the males
and the females, yeah.
Start ripping off his clothes, ripping off their clothes, like preparing for a mass orgy cult. And they start to feel all of Blanchard's body, feeling him all up and down, everywhere. And
slime.
And then they start sliming, which is something that Bill noticed on his sister earlier in the movie as well. That she had like these little sweat droplets, but they were too moist and too... They were too...
He thought she wasn't dry from a shower.
Yeah, they looked like almost like hot glue.
Yeah.
You know, from the little glue sticks, if you made a little drop. They kind of look like that. Well, that's what these people start becoming. Yeah. And then they start to merge.
Yeah, they merge with the guy's skin, and like it looks like they're sucking his life.
What do you want to call that? Cronenberging.
Yeah. Very Cronenberg. They basically
do a fucking Cronenberg. And they start grabbing him and merging with him together and start sucking on his nipples and his stomach, but then they turn like they have these sucker things, their mouth turns into like these weird little like fly like mouth. And they start going blah, 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 blah. Well, not yet.
Yeah, give it a second, but
and that's when we get the judge who says, "Now for the grand finale," or something like that, and takes his hand and basically shoves it where Blanchard's dick should be.
Yeah, not up his ass.
No, right where his dick should be, and then
you see his hand come out the dude's mouth.
Which his arm isn't even that long, which makes it that much more concerning. And basically, what it looks like is that he's merged. He's basically Cronenberged into a gelatinous humanoid blob with them.
Weird.
And he starts grabbing his face and pulling it into his body. And it becomes super weird. And Bill's just sitting there like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's so weird.
And then basically Bill is able to get away after Clarissa shows up in Milo. Clarissa heads in.
Yeah, so, can I say this? Because Milo's thing is my favorite.
Yeah.
Because he's still there with Clarissa's weird hair-grabby mom, and he's like, come on, you're going to be my date. And they get in, and they're going in through the backyard, and this cop's like, yeah, you shouldn't be here. And he, takes the guard's hat off and says to the mom, look, hair! And she, goes, and tackles him, and they're behind the bushes. And you just hear stuff. And then he comes out in the cop's uniform, and she is holding a giant piece of hair, and the guy is bald. And it's so badly done, but in the best way.
She was an enjoyable character, like a Frankenstein.
It was so funny. It's and we needed that. With all this weird, creepy, unsettling things that are happening, we needed to laugh.
Which Ex Machina did great at that. Showing you that it only takes a little dance, music, or a little comedic thing to take your mind a whole nother place in a bad situation.
Yep.
I love how that kind of mirrors it.
Yeah.
We'll do a review on that, because that movie...
That needs to be talked about in depth.
Oh, yes.
So then... Because at some point we saw his not mom and not dad and not sister, they snuck away themselves.
Right.
So then after Clarissa helps him escape, he's running up the stairs, getting chased by his therapist.
Which, to Ferguson, everybody else calls her a traitor.
Yep. And his therapist has, a weird Joker face going on, like Dark Knight. If you ever seen that, it's like a weird scar face thing.
And
he's like, you want me to give you a hand? And then his head morphs into a giant hand, and you're like, what the frick is happening?
Exactly. And that's when, his brother, his sister and his mother and father were like, let's go have some fun while everybody else is Cronenberg fucking Blanchard.
Eating,
orgies,
slurping,
nipple grabbing, whatever you want to call it.
To Beethoven music as well.
Which it made it that much more disturbing.
Now I can't hear that tune again. It sucks. I loved that song, but now, nope.
Exactly. But yeah, basically my Bill runs into the room, sees his mom, who's naked, or in a gown, but looks like she's naked under the covers. Then hops out.
It's weird because she's covered with the covers, and you see hairy hands where her legs should be.
And then she starts walking on them.
Yeah, and she has no arms, and her face is super puffy, and she's walking on his dad's hands. And then he's like, what? And then he, goes near, and his sister's head pops out of her crotch. And she's like, if you have any Oedipus fantasies, now's the time. And it's like, what is happening? And then a sheet gets lifted, and his dad's face is in an ass.
Yeah, his you were right,
butt. I am a butthead. And it's I don't even know.
Why?
I don't even know anymore. I'm having a small nervous breakdown. I don't even know.
I have to give this movie credit, though, with all those fucked up things things. It's like one of those things that like didn't necessarily scare you, but finally got a movie where it disturbed you as much as the character was.
Mm-hmm. It like, made you really feel why he's so paranoid and crazy. And it's like...
To be right. But be right and not even like, I knew it. Like, in the worst way
It's regretful. He wishes he wasn't right. You can tell. He wishes he was wrong.
Oh, and he wishes that he was wrong because of just how darker it was than he ever could have thought.
No, than any of us could have thought. Who thought of this? Like, it had to have been a plot that was written during a Coke binge or something.
And that somebody just watched one of those cheesy 80 orgy pornos and was like, you know what would make a really good idea if we mix the stuff and the blob together to do it.
Yeah, with a porn. And it's like, I also got to give credit to the special effects artist because he did great. Like, this is very effective.
Like, everything looks real. Mm-hmm. It really does. Like, it's amazing. So besides this disturbing aspect, though, you really have to hand it. This movie had a lot of very practical effects work, and it is beautiful in the sense of art and how it was done. Mm-hmm. Not so beautiful for what it's representing.
No, the product is not beautiful at all.
Exactly.
So, hence the voice crack. So he leaves out of that room, because who wouldn't? And he goes downstairs, and he challenges Ferguson to a fight, right?
Challenges Ferguson to a fight, man to man.
Man to man, one-on-one.
And no weird mutant powers.
Yeah.
Into which Ferguson accepts.
And Clarissa's like, this is a bad idea.
And we get a few punches in. Ferguson gets a few good licks. Mm-hmm. Then, after that, he starts to kiss.
Yeah, he's
Bill
kissing him
to suck out the nutrients.
It's a very one-sided fight. Like, Ferguson is really beating the crap out of Bill.
Because he's basically superhuman.
Yeah.
Humanoid, basically.
So then, he kisses him to suck the nutrients out, and then Bill pulls a shoving my fist up your...
Where your dick should be, so they all have vaginas, question mark?
I'm assuming they're, like, gender fluid.
Yeah, and they just have
think of them... But think of their bodies as a snowman. And you can just make whatever your mass into whatever and wherever. The
only thing is that they were trying to keep... And the thing about this, like, society, orgy cult thing is that they're trying to keep their race pure. Mm-hmm. So it makes you question, like, that part as well. Mm-hmm. Because it almost suggests, to the way that Blanche, or what happened to Blanche, is that they create new life as they go, as long as they assimilate.
Yeah, well, and also
a person into it.
It makes you question, like, maybe everyone was like that at some point, and then something branched off.
Yeah, because of the way that they said that they are not aliens. They are not aliens.
Yeah,
they are just another species, is what they said. That they are been there since humans as well.
But so he does the punch thing, and we get your favorite sound effect.
It's when
his lips shoves are huge.
Ferguson pulls away and he goes, and it's, oh god, it's hilarious.
Yeah, so everyone's freaking out because they didn't know Bill was going to do that.
And we get this epic shot of the mouth transitioning right past Billy's head that you could tell was cut. It was cut well enough for the 80s, but you could definitely tell because all of a sudden Ferguson looks normal and is in excruciating pain.
Yeah,
and then Bill turns him inside out.
Yeah, he, like, puts his thumb out his mouth, puts his other fingers out of his eyes, and, like, his eyes fall out, and he grabs his head and just, whoosh, one fluid motion rips him inside out.
Into which we see maggots and, like, muscle and, like...
It's really gross. And everyone's like, stay away from him so he can heal, or something like that. But then Bill's, like, standing there, and he grabs Clarissa, and everyone's, like, backing away from him.
Because they're like, he's going to turn us inside out, too.
Exactly. So, and then his friend's there, they all escape together into the Jeep and leave. And then there's a corny one line and it ends. And that's the movie.
Yeah, and basically we get the judge saying that...
Well, because earlier he offered Ferguson a position in Washington.
Yeah, and to which he then asked Dr. Cleveland...
Looks like I have an opening.
Yeah, what is in Washington?
Exactly. How high does this go? Is this like a reptilian scheme where our president's one of those?
Yeah, or that this is like a military thing now, or an experiment that went wrong.
Who knows?
But yeah, and another quick thing too, is that Ferguson or Blanchard, when he gets assimilated, the judge wants his mole and then calls it a beauty mark.
Well, that's a common... People commonly call it.
Well, I know, but it's how excited he was to have one.
He's like, yeah, and he gets one on his face.
Yeah, so... Yeah. But
so,
that's pretty much the society.
Yeah. Thanks for making me watch this, you ass.
I didn't know it was going to be that bad. We've already forewarned you. If you have a strong stomach...
If you don't.
And you... Well, if you have a strong stomach and you're able to handle disturbing things, which the 80s are always more realistic looking.
Ugh, yeah, it's because it's all practical. There's no CGI.
Yeah, then have fun watching this movie. If not...
If you need to turn it off, turn it off!
Yeah,
I'll say it.
If not, don't even bother.
Yeah.
Don't even bother.
Listen, if you get grossed out by, like, the concept of, like, I don't know, an arrow going through an eyeball, this is not for you.
Or a shoulder, even, yeah.
Yeah, like...
If you can't handle the movie Street Trash or Class of Nuke 'Em High.
If you can't handle any eye things or any, like...
Gelatinous blob, anything that has to do with assimilation, then this is not the movie.
Body horror, no.
Yeah, definitely not, but...
If you thought Eraserhead was weird... Blah, 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 blah.
I haven't seen Eraserhead yet, but I've seen bits of it, and I know that that's what David Lynch is like first.
Yeah.
Yeah, without further ado, guys, that is Society. Feel free to check it out for yourself. I'm not even going to recommend this one. I'm going to say that if you want to watch it, go for it. You know what you're getting yourself into.
View at your own peril.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Happy Halloween if this is coming out in October, so...
Yeah, so...
But we don't know when, so I'm just going to say Happy Halloween for everything until we're done.
Exactly, and we'll be doing monster and creature features all month for you guys, so...
Yeah, which is... Because I mentioned disturbing behavior earlier, and we will review that, but is that, like, monster?
Disturbing behavior is more sci-fi horror.
Yeah, so are we even... I don't even know.
I think it still counts. It's still kind of
yeah, fair.
Monsters,
okay. So yeah, my name is Nathaniel Shoemaker.
And I am Noah Sweeto, and this has been Film Nerds Hour.
Yeah, hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you later.
Stay safe out there, guys.
Yeah.
See you later.
Bye-bye.